Welcome to the arena at Southern Virginia University for tonight's men's volleyball match featuring Stevenson University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The NCAA and the Continental Volleyball Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments or intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco is strictly prohibited. Failure to adhere to these policies may result in immediate dismissal. President Denna and the Southern Virginia University staff thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. Stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Thank you for your cooperation, and go Knights! In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered today by Brenna Clyde, a sophomore on the women's volleyball team.
Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the opportunity we had to come to this gym and to watch this amazing sport. We're so grateful that Stevenson was able to make it safely, and we're grateful for this opportunity to watch volleyball, and please bless that both teams will play the best of their abilities and that no harm or injury will come upon them, and that when the time comes, Stevenson will be able to return home safely. And say these things in Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Now, if you will all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our nation's national anthem. Thank you. Now for your starting lineups. Starting for the Mustangs, at outside hitter, sophomore, number 2, Tim Flanagan. At outside hitter, sophomore, number 5, Ryan Fennell. At center, junior, number 7.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Barn Night Arena for tonight's men's volleyball contest between the Mustangs of Stevenson University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson. We're joined once again by my good friend Marion Gowdy for what should be another exciting installment of men's volleyball. The Knights coming into this game being ranked number 10 in the nation according to the AVCA Men's Division III Coaches Poll. Very exciting for Southern Virginia fans in general. Marion, great to have you here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
And coming to this game, Southern Virginia, again, I mentioned, coming in ranked 10 in the nation as the PA here is announcing the starters for Southern Virginia. And I want to make sure to shout out the starters for Stevenson as well. Outside hitter, number 2, Tim Flanagan. Number 5, Ryan Fennell, the opposite outside hitter. Number 7, Justin Novoa. And number 12, Jack Braverman. Number 18, Aiden O'Brien. And number 21, Elliot De La Torre. We got Cristo Bianchi and Jeremy Brown. And now number 7, McKay Walker, middle blocker. Again, Marion, last broadcast talked about how the Knights really loved having him back on this roster. Again, he went through a lot of the early parts of the season suffering from an injury. And number 10, Tyler Schaefer, the setter, really doing fantastic things here this season, facilitating the offense. And And now number 11, Tyler's brother, Christian Schaefer, outside hitter from Palmyra, Pennsylvania. Him and his brother Tyler have really developed a connection here offensively, combining for what we call all the time here in the broadcast, the Schaefer special, and for good reason. Another starter, number 15, Jayton Hall, opposite from Quinn Creek, Arizona. And libero, of course, number 6, Justin Madsen, the stronghold in the backcourt for Southern Virginia. Always make sure to help set up plays for Southern Virginia offensively. And for Stevenson, they're coming into this game 10-14, kind of having a down year. A lot of players replaced on their roster from years past. And, you know, Marion, you and I were talking before this game, the past 4 contests between these two programs, Stevenson has had Southern Virginia's number, winning 3 games to 1 against Southern Virginia. So even though there's a lot of replacement happening with Stevenson's roster, you have to imagine that history is going to play into this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's still the same coach, and I mean, we have a little bit of a younger team too, not a ton of seniors. So I mean, kind of new teams, but yeah, there's definitely that history, and they've probably talked about how they've played each other in the past, so they have that in their heads.
Absolutely, and so the ones that are back from last year, they remember the loss they suffered against Stevenson back in February of 2022. And again, when you have a program that you've struggled against throughout your collegiate career, that does stick in your mind. You think to yourself, you want to get the monkey off your back. You kind of have a special interest in making sure you win that specific game.
I mean, I still think about some of my high school teams like that. Weren't necessarily like my school's rival, but they were kind of my personal rival. So that could definitely play a part in tonight's game.
It absolutely can. So we'll get things started here. And, you know, you talk about the history between these two programs. I had a chance to talk to head coach Aldous Berzins of Stevenson, and what a pleasant conversation that was. Love talking to him. Very, very humble, very down to earth. And we just talked about, again, the fact this is a younger team for the Mustangs. They're kind of working through some things. He mentioned the environment that is Knight Arena, the lower ceiling, the close quarters with fans. And he actually pointed out how much he loves the noise that comes from it. Even though it's an opposing team's crowd and they're cheering against him, it adds a certain energy that he feels a lot of places don't necessarily have. And so you love to hear that about Knight Arena. And so serving, just kick things off here, is number 7, Justin Novoa. Schaefer to Hall. Right away, the Knights capitalizing, first ball kill. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia's number 15, Jayton Hall. The 6'5" sophomore from Queen Creek, Arizona. Fantastic serve from Hall. Hall from the back row. Phenomenal diving effort there from Jack Braverman. Beautiful quick set there to McKay Walker. You love to see Southern Virginia start so fast, you know, because Marion, before the game, we were talking about how in volleyball it's very easy to play to the level of your competition, whether it be playing above your normal level or below. Really liking to see Southern Virginia playing their own brand right now. Let's see a response from the Mustangs. Schaefer coming in from the back row, getting that one to fall. So 3 straight points for Southern Virginia. And Hall will be back to serve once again. Great dig there from Hall. And that falls for Walker, in spite of number 21, Elliot De La Torre, getting his hand on it.
That was a quick adjustment by McKay Walker. I think it went a little bit faster than he anticipated that set did, but he adjusted well.
Indeed, he did, and so the score stands now 4-0 in this first set. The low ceiling coming into play exactly as head coach Alden Berzins feared when I talked to him before the game.
I mean, I have to give Stevenson a little bit of credit for actually going after it. They still got it over the net, but just not in the court, so.
Timeout called for Stevenson as they trail 5-0 early in this first set. And again, a lot of things that Coach Berzins was talking about before the game coming into play here. Again, the low ceiling, also the fact that, again, less experience. And honestly, when I talked to him, I actually talked to him about the history between these two teams, these two programs, how Stevenson's kind of had Southern Virginia's number. And his answer was actually kind of staggering to me when I talked about that. He's like, you know, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. You know, there's a history here. Sure, we played each other a couple times, but who's won how many games or lost how many games in this series, I don't really know. But we're just going to come in here and do the best that we can. And I just absolutely love that answer because, again, it is sometimes fun to focus on that history, like, oh, they've beaten us this many times over the past couple years. But at the same time, it almost makes you overthink things a little bit. You just got to go in there, play volleyball, play your hearts out, and do what you can.
Especially with such a young team. It's almost a brand new team, so.
Indeed. So right now, McKay Walker leading the way with 2 kills to his name so far. Knights already with 4 kills to start off this first set. And Jayden Hall will still be behind the line serving. And that'll go down as a point for Stevenson. I believe it almost bounced off the face of number 4, Jeremy Brown, on the block. They weren't able to quite keep it in the court. Now back to service number 2, Tim Flanagan, the sophomore from Chester, New Jersey. That serve goes right into the net and gives it right back to Southern Virginia. And I mentioned how it looked like Brown kind of got hit in the face with that last block. That just shows you how high up he's getting on the net. All keeping it alive. Here's Brown coming from the back row. Good quick set there from number 21, De La Torre, the senior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And coming in for the Mustangs is number 18, Aiden O'Brien. And De La Torre will be back to serve. That serve kind of lifted, I feel like, at the last moment, throwing off the Knights' approach. That one floats out. Good call there from Christian Schaefer. Coming into the floor. Go ahead, Marion.
With Christian being so tall and in the back row, he's definitely learned if it's above a certain point, probably in my point of view or on my body, he knows that it's going to go out.
Absolutely, and coming in for Southern Virginia is Krista Bianchi, and to serve Curtis Stone. And it goes into the net, so Stone will continue serving. I had the pleasant experience of meeting Curtis Stone's parents after the last home game. They came up to the broadcaster's table, talked with her a little bit. I always love the interaction. It's always fun to see people who usually view these broadcasts back at home come here and experience the barn in person. Bianchi gets a solid hit there, and saving it is number 5, Ryan Fennell. What a play there from Fennell. But it ultimately goes down for Christian Schaefer. What a play, though.
I love that play. That's one of those plays where I don't think volleyball players really think about it as much. But yeah, on that second touch, if it goes way out, if you stay off of the other opponent's side of the court, you can go get it and get it back to your team, and they can keep playing it just exactly like Fennell just did. I love seeing that determination, that scrappiness to really get every ball.
And that serve from Curtis Stone right in that back corner. Service ace for Southern Virginia. and that is a first for either side. That serve just a little too far, gives it back to the Mustangs. So back in will come McKay Walker. And Justin Matson, libero, will come in. Back to serve now is number 5, Ryan Fennell. That serve into the net, that makes service error number 3 for the Mustangs in this first set. And checking into the game is number 18, Kyler Evans. We've talked a lot about him and these men's volleyball games, how whenever he comes on the floor, it seems like just good things tend to happen. Fantastic hesitation there. I don't know if it was quite intentional, but the hesitation at the peak of his jump definitely threw the Knights off a bit defensively. That was Aiden O'Brien gets credited with that kill. Now back to service number 12, Jack Braverman. The block goes down for Cristo Bianchine.
Yeah, the SVU Knights did a really good job reading that block. They saw the middle go up and knew the ball wasn't going to him, so they had that read like a book.
They absolutely did, and perhaps Christian Schaefer may have gotten a little piece of it, but that brings the score to 12-5 with Christian Schaefer serving. That one goes into the net for the second service error for the Knights. And coming into serve is number 19, J.D. Sarmuxis. When I said correctly, Sarmuxnis. Always want to make sure to get these names right for the parents that are watching back home. That serve goes out and gives it back to Southern Virginia. McKay Walker comes back onto the floor, and Crystal Bianchi will be back to serve. And it goes out off the hands of Kyler Evans and McKay Walker. They're both right there, perfect position, but just lands out. Now back to service number 7, Justin Novoa. Here's Evans. Fantastic effort there from Braverman. Here's Brown. Beautifully executed. And when Brown's only going up against one blocker, it tends to not work out so well for the other side.
I couldn't even tell if he was above the block or went through the block, but either way, it went straight to that floor.
Indeed it did. Now back to service number 15, Jayton Hall. What a powerful emphasis on that hit from number 2, Tim Flanagan.
Number 2, Tim Flanagan to serve.
And Flanagan will be back to serve. That serve into the net makes service error number 5 for the Mustangs.
Which, if you look at their current score of 8 right now, that's a good chunk of points that they're giving away to SVU.
Indeed, that is true. Again, 5 points. I mean, if they don't have those errors, they're within 2 points in this first set. McKay Walker with another kill. Another timeout called by Stevenson as the score stands 16-8 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia, the number 10 ranked team in the nation. And with this short break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve this viewing presentation of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. So again, a lot of things going right for Southern Virginia. Of course, we mentioned Stevenson kind of shooting themselves in the foot a couple times. The service errors. Their hitting percentage is 105 compared to Southern Virginia's 462. They've also had 3 attack errors. Just a lot of things not going as smooth as Stevenson would like to have against, again, a ranked opponent like Southern Virginia. But in spite of that, they're still giving Southern Virginia a good fight and good run for their money. And Southern Virginia, again, 1 service ace. Their hitting percentage is fantastic. And, again, results in them leading 16-8. We'll see if Stevenson is able to respond after the run that the Knights have been on. Back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 4, Jeremy Brown. That serve sails out, gives it back to the Mustangs. Back to serve is number 21, Elliot De La Torre, the senior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Another kill from McKay Walker. That gives him kill number 4. Coming back onto the floor for Stevenson is number 8, Michael Daughtry. For Southern Virginia, Cristo Bianchine, as well as Curtis Stone, who is back to serve. Here's Hall. Gets that one to fall, finds the opening on the backside. Extends the lead to 9. Here's Stone. That serve sails away from him again.
Now serving number 5, Ryan Fennell.
And now back to serve for the Mustangs is number 5, Ryan Fennell. For Southern Virginia, we'll see libero Justin Madsen come back onto the floor. Great anticipation there from Jack Braverman. Unfortunately for him, it just sails out.
Now serving for the Knights, number 10, Tyler Schaefer.
Tyler Schaefer back to serve. Somehow keeping that alive was number 2, Tim Flanagan. And once again, the ceiling coming into play.
But he planted that pancake right where it needed to be.
Lands just inside. And as another kill for Tim Flanagan, that is his 4th. He now ties with Southern Virginia's McKay Walker. Number 12, Jack Braverman back to serve. The freshman from Sudbury, Massachusetts. Schaefer to Evans. Phenomenal connection between Schaefer and Evans.
Those have to be kind of fun hits for Kyler Evans there, because usually he's on the right side of the net, so to be able to hit from the left side just to switch it up every once in a while has to be kind of fun.
Good adjustment there from Daughtry. Here's Bianchine. The power forces it by Daughtry for a kill.
Now, I don't know how Michael pronounces his last name, and if he might pronounce it the way you are, but that is my maiden name, and I pronounce it Doherty. But
I believe you're right. I believe you're right.
But
Doherty.
he could totally pronounce it your way. People, I've heard it go both ways, so I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
I
showing
honestly
the
think
options.
you are correct. So apologies to the Doherty family. Like I mentioned before, I want to make sure we get these pronunciations right for those back home. That serve from Christian Schaefer just outside.
And it's kind of funny. My parents always told me that if I was a boy when I was born, I would have been named Michael, so that could have been my name if I was a boy. Isn't that funny?
That is quite a coincidence there. Here's Evans. That sails out off the block. It rode the trolley, I like to say, right on top of the net on the way out. It's now set point for Southern Virginia. Here's Cristo Bianchine.
I'm surprised McKay got that.
And slamming that down with authority was Tim Flanagan. Gets him his 5th kill. And you saw improbable saves there from both Walker as well as Doherty on the opposite side. Even with the effort there from Jack Braverman, that goes down as a point for Southern Virginia and gives the Knights the victory in this first set, 25-13.
Yeah, just like you said, with the effort that they're given. I mean, the Stevenson team really is, they're scrappy. They really go after every single ball, which I love to see in any volleyball player or team. And so it makes it for a really fun game.
Absolutely, and you know, in situations like that where things aren't necessarily going your way in that first set, it's very easy to kind of retreat into yourself, to kind of think to yourself, oh, it's just going to fall in their favor anyway. No, again, the fact, like you mentioned, that they're chasing after every single ball, diving for everything. Again, you always love to see it. It's just a sign of a well-coached team, which is no surprise considering the fact that this program over the past couple of years has been in the national rankings on several occasions, made it very far in their conference tournaments and other tournaments as well. And again, not at all, you know, in any way surprising. So with the short break, we want to give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Whether you're visiting campus or visiting the Blue Ridge Mountains here and the many hiking trails that we have, if you're parched after one of your hikes, go to Straws Drinks and Eats. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. We appreciate you. And so again, for McKay Walker, he's the one leading the way for Southern Virginia as far as kills is concerned. Flanagan leading the way for the Mustangs with 5 to his name. So again, we've been seeing him everywhere so far for Stevenson. They're going to need a lot more of him in this second set if they're going to want to try to bounce back and make it to where they're not in danger of getting swept here in Knight Arena. And Aiden O'Brien leading the way for Stevenson in hitting percentage at .500. For Southern Virginia, Tyler Schaefer with 1,000. So again, a lot of things going on for Southern Virginia, but it's one of those things where, again, with volleyball, a lot of adjustments can be made. In any sport, you make the adjustments, you respond, see how it works. And again, we talk about the history between these two programs. Anything can happen. History is a big deal with these sports. So we'll see how they adjust. Again, going into some of these stats, Southern Virginia led the way with 14 kills compared to 7 for Stevenson. Hitting percentage, Southern Virginia is still leading in that category, 619 to 125. Assists, they're leading 14 to 7. Service aces, 2 to 0. Service errors, they're equal now with 5 apiece. And Southern Virginia also leading the way in digs, 12 to 6. As we get to see these players go back onto the floor, get ready for the start of the second set. Want to give a shout out to our up and down refs today. Up ref today is Wayne Clark and down ref is Michael Griffin. So far I've called a very clean game. We also see we have a couple of Stevenson fans here in attendance. Always love to see the visiting team's fans travel. Down ref Michael Griffin just making sure to check and see if everyone listed is accounted for on the court.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the start of the second set here in the barn.
And to kick things off in the second set is number 15, Jayton Hall. Hall ended that first set with 2 kills out of 3 total attacks. Might as well start singing happy birthday. That was fantastic.
I mean, when you set a ball up that close to the net, it's basically a present to the other team, right? So happy birthday.
It's wrapped up in nice shiny paper with a good little ribbon on top. A nice start to the second set for Southern Virginia. 2 times in a row. They're going to give that point to Southern Virginia, even though the net was moving afterwards, so it really looked like either Jeremy Brown or McKay Walker had come down on the net. And I believe the down ref is saying that he wasn't able to see exactly who had caused the net to move, because there were defenders right there. That's a service ace for Jayton Hall. But again, controversial call on that second point. Substituting in to the back row, number 19, J.D. Sarmuksnis. Somehow off the shoulders of several Mustangs players, and then Brown saying enough of that. That gives him kill number 4 of the day. But again, it was like a pinball machine here on Stevenson's side on that last play. All was missing was the loud, obnoxious noises and the points awarded for each thing that's hit. Goes down as a block for Brown.
Yeah, Southern Virginia Knights are definitely not letting up on anything. They're just definitely playing their brand, just like you were saying earlier, and Stevenson is having to adjust, and maybe they're taking this time out to talk about what adjustments they need to make.
Indeed, just to kind of collect themselves, because both the first and second set, the Knights have gone out on a little bit of a run. I think in the first set, they've gone out to a 6-0 lead. Now here, they're up to a 5-0 lead. So both times really able to set the pace and set the tone, and doing a great job of that. And you know, Jeremy Brown, he did have 2 kills in that first set, but he didn't feel as present as he does in a lot of other games. He's definitely changing that to start off the second set. Again, with a block, and then 2 kills, and of course the service ace from Jayton Hall definitely didn't hurt either. And also sometimes in sports, if another team's on a run, sometimes the only thing you really can do, the thing that helps you the best, just to sit down, breathe for a second, and collect yourself, and just realize it's a sport we play every single day. You know, we practice this all the time. We practice against people with the same talent level, or at least a similar talent level all the time. This is nothing new. And we'll see if Stevenson is able to make those adjustments, as number 15, Jayton Hall, is back to serve once again. Matson forced to just send it back over. Beautiful setup for Walker. Walker now with 5 kills to his name. I like the adjustment that I think we saw from number 21 here, Elliot De La Torre, or perhaps it was actually here number 5, Ryan Thenel. He went up to this near side and saw Tyler Schaefer was there and decided to try to scoop it up over top of him and get over the block. And that goes down from number 2, Tim Flanagan. And that gives him 6 kills. Back to serve now is Flanagan. Doherty jumping backwards to save the play. Here's Brown. Off the hands of De La Torre. Gets himself another kill. Ties him with McKay Walker with 5. And now Jeremy Brown back to serve. Right in between Doherty and Flanagan.
That's definitely a hard ball to call. There definitely needs to be lots of communication with serves like that.
Phenomenal job there from Doherty. The Schaefer special strikes for the first time today. Even hear the Knights bench calling out for the Schaefer special. So the score in this second set now stands 9-1 in favor of Southern Virginia. That serve into the net for Brown. Back to serve for Stevenson is number 21, Elliot De La Torre. De La Torre has 1 kill today. That came out of the oven steaming hot. That's the Schaefer special ready to order.
Yeah, he was able to see right where the blockers were when across the court.
And he was almost hitting directly at us in our general direction. We could see the alley that he was looking through. And now back to serve is number 14, Curtis Stone. That one goes out the right side. And we'll see libero Justin Madsen return to the floor for the Knights. Now back to serve is number 5, Ryan Fennell. Awkward timing there as Bianchine was coming over for a pin. Now either he had jumped too early or the set was a little too high. It's hard to tell exactly what was the case there. But either way, Bianchine put the power behind his swing that time. That serve into the net from Fennell. We'll see Kyler Evans return to the floor for Southern Virginia. And Tyler Schaefer back to serve. Straight back down as that ball was met by Bianchine and Schaefer. Takes you back to the play last week where Southern Virginia's bench went wild off of a one-armed block by Christian Schaefer as that serve from Tyler Schaefer goes into the net. Back to serve number 12, Jack Braverman. Odd adjustment had to be made there for Jack Braverman, not able to get it back over the net. Now back to serve number 11, Christian Schaefer. That one sails out on number 2, Tim Flanagan, and I failed to introduce the setter that is in for Stevenson now, number 4, Doug Hines, the sophomore from Columbia, Maryland. Got another substitution for Stevenson in number 10, Ryan Farrell. We saw a lot of number 7, Justin Novoa, in that first set at setter, as that serve sails out.
Seems to be a lot of service errors tonight. I mean, both sides. And sometimes I feel like the SVU Knights have games like this where they just seem to have service errors quite a bit, more than other nights, and then other nights they really make it a point to be very crisp and clean with their serves.
There's a setup here. Good hands by Bianchine. That was a point for Southern Virginia. They're going to call 4 hits on Stevenson. And to your point about service errors, the Knights now lead in that category, 9 service errors to 6 for Stevenson. And that, you know, we've talked about how that kind of comes in the territory, how if you are taking risks with your serves and do a lot of creative things that give you a lot of service aces, the teams that have a lot of service aces tend to also have the flip side in abundance as well. And Brown rising up, putting that right through the attempted block there from De La Torre and Hines.
You can't stop that rocket. That's just a fantastic hit. Good volleyball right there.
Indeed it was. Another timeout called by Stevenson. That last kill brings Jeremy Brown to 6 total kills. He ties Stevenson's Tim Flanagan for most by an individual player in today's contest so far. And with this timeout break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. So be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, and let us know how we're doing and how we can improve this viewing presentation of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for deciding to support Knights Broadcasting here today. We appreciate your support. So again, similar story to the first set. The Knights came out strong, developed a quick early lead. Stevenson started to battle back a little bit. Also some mistakes from Southern Virginia have kind of allowed them to kind of hang around. But again, overall, the attacks for Southern Virginia have just been overall crisp today. To use a word you used a little bit ago, just very crisp, very accurate. And they've really not allowed Stevenson to adjust properly at the net to defend them. And back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 1, Cristo Bianchine. Great dig there from Tyler Schaefer.
There's also great coverage by Bianchi there too.
That goes down. Thanks to Evans and Brown being there, Johnny on the spot. And I mentioned Cristo Bianchi, and there was a very sweet moment at the end of our last home broadcast for Southern Virginia volleyball. Cristo Bianchi came over to the table, requested to say a couple words, and wished his mom a happy birthday on that day. That was a really nice moment there as that serve from Bianchi goes out. Back to serve is number 4, Doug Hines. Got a substitution here for the Mustangs with number 17, Min Christensen, a senior from Molika Hill, New Jersey. That sort of goes into the net for Hines. And we'll see number 15, Jayton Hall, return to the floor for Southern Virginia. As the Knights now have an 11-point lead here in the second set. Another service error for Southern Virginia. So it's, again, it's a problem that's plagued both teams so far. That being the 11th service error for Southern Virginia. And the first of the two teams to break into double digits in that category. Great dig there from Doherty. The second pass, though, from Farrell sails towards the score table. Another point for Southern Virginia. Here's Hines. Gets that to fall. Looked like it came off the back of the head of McKay Walker. As that falls from Min Christensen.
Min there had great court awareness. I knew he was a little further out than he probably would have liked to be, but he saw that and did the appropriate adjustments. That's great volleyball right there.
I believe it's the first kill for him in today's contest. And Min able to get in the way of Walker's attack there. Great dig there from Hines. Brown rising up from the back row. Gets it to fall. He's apologizing to the line judge back there. She's giving him the heads up, saying it's all right.
Occupational hazard.
Exactly. If line judges were worried about getting hit by the volleyball, there would be no line judges. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia for the first time tonight, number 13, Jeff Tomlinson. Rising up and throwing that down is number 18, Aiden O'Brien.
That was beautiful. I mean, that setter, I believe number 4, Doug Hines, he put that ball right into that hitter's hand. So that was beautiful setting, beautiful hitting.
That serve from Fennell into the net. And you mentioned Hines. I feel like there's been kind of an energy shift for the Mustangs since he was put onto the floor. Again, with different setters, you can have two setters with the same amount of skill set, but there's just a different type of energy, different type of play, decision-making that changes things up for you and in some instances can help you win games.
In my experience in volleyball, the setter definitely is kind of like the quarterback of the volleyball team. They make a lot of decisions. They choose where the ball's going to be hit from the court, whether front row, back row, left, right. I mean, they make a lot of decisions out there. So setters definitely can set different moods and different vibes depending on the setter.
And much like a quarterback, they set the tone. They kind of set the standards for everyone around them. And so again, we're seeing a lot of that from Doug Hines right now. But the Knights 3 points away from a victory in this second set. Min trying to get it over. I believe it hit the top of the net. So a point for Southern Virginia with number 10, Tyler Schaefer, back to serve. Bianchine right there. Hines chasing it down. Putting it back over is number 10, Brian Farrell. Goes down as a point for Southern Virginia. Christian Schaefer right there. Set point for Southern Virginia.
Great serve received by number 10, Brian Farrell there.
Here's Evans. The ceiling helping Doherty there. As that falls out, gives the Knights a victory here in the second set by a score 25-10.
I'm very impressed with Michael Doherty at the moment. He ran all over the place in all sorts of different directions very quickly to try and get that ball. I'm impressed with the determination and the scrappiness that he has.
Indeed, he's been showing that all game long. He leads the Mustangs in digs with 4 to his name, and if there was a statistic for hustle plays, he'd be leading in that too, I feel like. Again, just very, very impressive overall. And honestly, I'd be anxious to see if, again, we talked about the energy level change for Stevenson when they put in Doug Hines. I'd be interested to see if that changes things to start off this third set, because again, Southern Virginia has kind of dominated the first couple points in each set so far. So if Stevenson wants to change that, let's make sure they get solid serve receive, make sure that they can get some solid attacks going right away. I want to take this moment to once again give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Whether you're visiting campus or you're visiting the beautiful hikes we have here in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the area, be sure to go stop by and check out Straws Drinks and Eats. My personal drink of choice, Dr. Pepper with cherry, vanilla, lime, and a little bit of almond cream. Hits the spot every single time. I can't recommend it highly enough. That's a very normal date night location for me and my wife. We absolutely love that place, so go and check it out if you're in the area. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. We appreciate your support. So again, we'll see if Stevenson's able to change up their energy here in this third set, because again, you don't want to travel all the way to Southern Virginia to the barn, and you don't want to come away with a loss first off. We also don't want to be swept. That's one thing you want to avoid, obviously. But right now, again, things aren't trending in their direction. They're now at a 0 hitting percentage. Southern Virginia at 537. Southern Virginia leading in total assists by 22-10. The main statistical category that Stevenson is leading in a positive way is service errors. They have 8 compared to Southern Virginia's 11. So again, we'll see if Stevenson's able to switch up their energy a little bit. And honestly, in this set, we saw a little bit in the second set. They started to put in some players that I hadn't seen the floor yet. I'd expect to see a little bit more here in this third set. Again, we saw Jeff Tomlinson come in to serve. Maybe we can expect to see other players that we haven't seen so far tonight, like a crowd favorite number 5, Mateo Kimball. Could possibly see him. Maybe see a little bit of Bryce Stringham as well, the other setter here on this roster. At least that's a trend that we've seen from head coach Tom Peterson in games where they've taken the first 2 sets relatively easily.
Looks like we're having a little switch up over on the Stevenson side. The libero has changed to number 19, J.D. Sarmuckness. So sorry.
Indeed, he was not libero for the majority of this game so far. Great point there. It was Doherty for the most part, so we're curious to see if we'll see him back on the floor. Because again, we talked about his hustle plays he was making, the digs, leading the team in digs for Stevenson.
And I mean, that type of scrappiness, that type of hustle, like really gives a lot of strength to the rest of your teammates to really do that themselves and really, as a team, have that level of hustle and scrappiness.
Indeed, and we'll see number 7, Justin Novoa, will be back as a setter for Stevenson in this third set. Again, we saw number 4, Doug Hines, take over that position in the second set. Here's Hall. Gets that one to fall in spite of number 2, Tim Flanagan, being right there. So that's another thing, too, again, when I was talking with head coach Aldous Berzins before today's game for Stevenson. Again, he mentioned the fact they're a younger team. They're trying to change things up, trying to figure out what rotation works, what doesn't. And that serve sails out. And we're seeing a change in the trend here. In the first 2 sets, in the first one, the Knights came out to a 6-0 lead. The second set came out to a 5-0 lead. And now we see Stevenson tying things up at 1 apiece. McKay Walker rising up and throwing it down. It was quite the battle at the net. It felt like the ball just stayed within 1 foot of the net for a solid 5 or 6 seconds there. Here's Brown to serve. Great adjustment there from De La Torre, and even Christian Schaefer looked back, gave him a little nod saying that was a good one. As you and I have talked about so many times, how you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have good placement of the ball, it's not going to mean much. And Kyler Schaefer with the trickery at the net.
And even if you do the same hit every time, like same powerful hit every time, I mean, yes, you're going to get a lot of points off of that, but you become predictable. So if you switch it up and do little rolls every once in a while, switch up to line versus cross court, you become harder to defend.
Now back to serve is number 13, Jeff Tomlinson. We saw him in the second set. Christian Schaefer got into the net that time. Good point for the Mustangs.
I mean, when you're up there blocking you, they do talk about like penetrate and really trying to get over that ball and send it back down to the court, but just a little too far. Can't touch the net.
Serving that time was Ryan Fennell. Here's Brown. That falls in for number 18, Aiden O'Brien. And for the first time today, the Mustangs of Stevenson have the lead over the Knights of Southern Virginia. And they build on it, making it 5-3. Now the question is, now that the momentum's kind of shifted towards Stevenson a little bit, how will Southern Virginia respond? Because again, they have not been the team without the lead the entire contest. Great work at the net once again by Aiden O'Brien. We're saying his name a lot right now just because simply he's making the plays. And Bianchine ends the run for Stevenson. And with Tyler Schaefer back to serve and come back onto the floor is number 18, Kyler Evans. Solid pass. Goes down as a kill for Jack Braverman. Again, solid pass there from number 7, Justin Novoa. It's hard enough getting an accurate set like that, but just a regular pass right where it needed to be. Very, very impressive. That serve sails off the hand of number 12, Jack Braverman. It sails out of bounds. Now number 11, Christian Schaefer back to serve. We're seeing the hitting percentage for Southern Virginia dip a little bit. It was in the 600s going into the third set. As I speak, Schaefer gets a service ace right there, but it's kind of dipped into 490, which is still a solid hitting percentage, but comparatively speaking, we're seeing Stevenson really do a better job at keying in on the hitters and putting blockers in their path. I'm going to say that Evans went over the net for that one, and indeed he did. It's very tempting, though, as it gets passed right back to you. Now with number 18, Aiden O'Brien back to serve. Aiden O'Brien continues to have a phenomenal third set. That serve hits the top of the net and rolls right on over. That one sails out on O'Brien. Cristo Bianchine back to serve for Southern Virginia. And again, we mentioned O'Brien a lot. He has 4 kills now, most of those coming in this set alone. Got a service ace, an assist, and a block. That serve sails out for Bianchine.
Now serving number 7, Justin Novoa.
Back to serve now is number 7, Justin Novoa. That goes right into the net and right back to Southern Virginia.
Coming in and serving number 15, Jake Hall.
We got Jaden Hall serving for the Knights. McKay Walker right there. Once again, him and Tyler Schaefer bring it back within one. Service ace there for Hall. Too much power to handle. That combined with a fantastic top spin ties it up at 10 apiece. That one got away from him.
Number 2, Tim Flanagan to serve.
Tim Flanagan back to serve. He still leads the Mustangs in kills with 6. Straight down. Great block there from McKay Walker. Ties it back up 11.
Yeah, when you say that was straight down, that really was straight down. There is no defending that one.
For fans of mathematics out there, you might even say that was at a straight 90-degree angle. That one lands in. Another block there from McKay Walker. And the Knights retake the lead. That one was very, very close. It's the point where Stevenson was convinced that the ball landed out, and that service error ties it back up at 12. That makes service error number 15 for Southern Virginia today, compared to 11 for Stevenson. Once again, the Knights guilty of getting into the net. This time it's the other Schaefer brother, Tyler. Now back to serve for the Mustangs is number 21, Elliot De La Torre. Great touch there from Hall. Gets it just over the blockers. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 14, Curtis Stone. Another kill for O'Brien as the Mustangs retake the lead. That gives O'Brien his 5th kill of the game. Brown flying in from the back row. Despite the diving effort there from Sarmutsnis, it goes down for Brown.
I don't know if Brown planned that or if it was just a little too close to the net coming from the back row, but either way, he made it happen.
It almost looked like he was stretching out his hand just to try to get a piece of it. Not really sure you can call that one a block, because that appeared to me that just went to the net, but the Knights retake the lead, 15-14. Goes down once again for O'Brien, as Evans was there, but was surprised to see the ball coming towards him. And it's tied back up at 15. And Aiden O'Brien now ties Tim Flanagan for the leader in kills in today's game. O'Brien having to reach back. Gets back up, gets a hand on that block. Beautiful block there for Kyler Evans, the solo block. I just want to walk through the series of events that just happened with Aiden O'Brien. He went up, when that first pass went right back over, he jumped up, had to lean back and hit it, fell on his back on the ground, got back up, went to the other side of the net, got his hand on the ball, and then almost had the kill there if it weren't for Kyler Evans. There's Bianchi. Not enough power behind that one.
I think he might have came in a little early on his approach, got a little too excited to get that ball and just was too low and the ball was a little higher.
That's happened a couple times today with Cristo Bianchi, and again, I don't, like you said, I don't know if it's necessarily the either late approach or the too high of a set. There's just been some communication that hasn't really worked out for the Knights right there. Well, it worked out that time. Whatever issue they had in the previous play, they quickly repaired that.
And I think the blockers were ready for Tyler to tip it over, but once again, Tyler being one of those setters that sometimes he tips, sometimes he sends it back over to his side of the court. I mean,
plus the fact that Tyler was facing the net too, which is typically you see when someone trying to make a play, but instead sets it to the side. Here's Walker. Love the effort there from JD Sarmuchnis, keeping it alive as the Knights trying to distance themselves score-wise. Timeout called by the Mustangs.
I mean, earlier you were wondering how the Knights were going to respond to not the same starting to this set as the other two sets, with the Stevenson being behind by 5 or 6 points. They were tied 1-1 and then even had the lead later in the set. But I guess we've seen how the Knights respond. They tightened up. They really got their more serves in, I feel like. They got a lot of blocks. They really didn't get casual, and they tightened down on what they needed to tighten down on.
They absolutely did. And, you know, looking at the first two sets compared to this one, it's a completely different game. Like in the first set, the Knights won 25-13 with relative ease. The second set was a little bit easier as well by a score of 25-10. Then now the Knights leading by 2, 18-16 in the third set. I mean, again, we talk about Stevenson making adjustments, changing up the rotation. Again, they changed up their libero, this time in this set being number 19, JD Sarmuchnis. And also you see the enhanced play from Aiden O'Brien. Again, just there's such a different level of energy from the Mustangs right now that wasn't present in the first two sets. So I'm thinking if you're Stevenson and head coach Aldous Burnsins, you're going to look back at this third set and think to yourself, okay, what worked for us here? What was so different about our attitude, our approach, how we played, and how can we replicate that in games to come, especially when you had that little play in this third set against the number 10 ranked team in the country. Here's Cristo Bianchi back to serve. That serve sails out. Another service error for Southern Virginia makes number 16. Now back to serve for the Mustangs is number 7, Justin Novoa. Diving effort there from Novoa. That pass was way too close to the net, and that's right there. And come back onto the floor to serve as number 15, Jayton Hall.
Number 15, Jayton Hall.
The Knights now with a 2-point lead, hoping to close it out for the sweep. That serve just short, service error number 17.
Now serving number 2, Tim Flanagan.
Back to serve for Stevenson is number 2, Tim Flanagan. De La Torre taking advantage of that one. A rare misstep there from Justin Madsen on the first pass. Ties it back up at 19. De La Torre getting another kill. Timeout called by Coach Tom Peterson and the Knights of Southern Virginia as they find themselves trailing in the later part of this third set, 20-19. De La Torre gets his 4th kill of the game. He trails just behind Aiden O'Brien and Tim Flanagan, who each have 6 apiece for Stevenson. The overall leader in kills so far today is Jeremy Brown with 9, who we haven't really seen a ton of in this third set. Now, whether it be the Knights just not necessarily targeting him as much, or we're seeing a lot more focus on Stevenson's side defensively to try to keep track of him, making it difficult to get plays set for him. Either way, Stevenson's grateful that he hasn't been as involved in this set. Want to once again remind you, watch this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. And now back to serve number 2, Tim Flanagan.
I feel a very focused vibe from the Southern Virginia Knights right now. I think this last time out, I wouldn't be surprised if they were told to, this is more of a mental game at this point, and we need to communicate and figure out how to finish this game.
I believe they're going to say that Jeremy Brown went over the net for that one. Makes it a 2-point game. And I believe you're right, you know, when you have a timeout like that where you realize, hey, we need to straighten some things up, you make plays like that. Jane Hall rising up, throwing it down with Jeremy Brown back to serve. And also, when you have a timeout where head coach Tom Peterson, with the history that he has in winning programs, and he's letting you know, like, hey, we need to straighten some things out. You know you need to change some things, and that service into the net for the Knights. That is service error number 18 today. I'm sure that is going to be a point of emphasis this week in practice.
I mean, that's almost a whole set just given to Stevenson by the Knights. That is not a good statistic.
McKay Walker rising up, bringing it back within 1. Coming onto the floor to serve is number 14, Curtis Stone. We'll also see the return of Cristo Bianchine. We also see returning is Aiden O'Brien for Stevenson. That hit from Braverman into the net.
I feel like we've talked about service errors and aces a lot in this game, in this set. But when it comes to volleyball, service is a huge part of the game. I mean, it's what starts the play. If you can't get it over the net, nothing else happens. You just hand a point to the other team, especially with the rally scoring that volleyball is now. And so it's a very, very big part of the game. So yes, I feel like we're talking about it a lot, but I think that's why we're talking about it, because if you get it over the net, I think sometimes it's great to have a really aggressive serve and try to aim it to the dark back corners, or to statistically whatever serve receiver over there isn't the greatest serve receiver, but sometimes it's just better to get it over the net.
Right, and sometimes it's very tempting to have the highlight reel type of serve with a lot of topspin, like you said, either back corner or the back line, or just very well placed. But like you said, you got to get things started, because the main thing that's been the benefit for Southern Virginia today is their hitting percentage and their attacks, right? The percentage of hits on their attacks has been fantastic. And when you don't get the serve over the net, you're limiting your potential to have that kind of play. Like, yes, you want service aces, and that's all fine and dandy, but you got to get the play started, and I'm sure that's a main emphasis right now for Coach Tom Peterson.
Because the more you get the ball to the other side of the net, the more the other team is going to make mistakes. And it's going to anyway, so that's why I feel like we're talking about service a lot, but that's why I feel like it's a huge part of the play and part of volleyball in general.
And once again, serve into the net gives the Mustangs the lead. You know, much to your point, you know, we talk about it a lot, but every time you interview a coach or talk about the keys to the game, serving is mentioned at least once or twice every single time. Almost to the point where you're almost tempted to not ask the question what are the keys to the game, because it's serve, receive.
Okay, now it's a game just to 2. Stevenson and the Knights both have 23 points.
Here's Tyler Schaefer to serve. Christian Schaefer winning that battle at the net. Great diving effort there from Flanagan. Brown from the back row. Gets to land on the line on the outside. A correction made by the up ref, Wayne Clark, saying it landed out. It's now set point for Stevenson, and another timeout called by Coach Tom Peterson in Southern Virginia. Again, to say that there is a difference in energy and competitiveness and all those other terms you'd like to use in this third set compared to the first two is an understatement. Again, Southern Virginia was making it look easy against the Mustangs in the first 2 sets. Again, it was 25-13 in the first, 25-10 in the second. We hear some great words of wisdom from senior Steven Rasmussen, basically telling his bench, saying, hey, you know, we've been playing better than this all game long. We need to strap up and figure some things out and take this game.
This is actually one of the most emotional, I don't know if that's the right word, that I've seen Coach Peterson. Usually he's sitting on the bench, letting his team take care of things. I mean, he's engaged, he's there, but usually he's not as excited as he is right now. And I think that speaks to a great coach. I mean, I had a coach like that when I was playing, that the more energy the team needed, like if they were down, the coach tries to feed you that energy. And I think Peterson is communicating what needs to happen, even just through his body language.
Back to serve for Stevenson is number 12, Jack Braverman. I think along with that energy is a little bit of frustration as well. You see each time that the Knights have had a service error, Coach Peterson gets a little bit more animated in his response about it. Evans rises up and ties it back up at 24. So again, whatever other words were said by either senior Steven Rasmussen or head coach Tom Peterson, clearly it either struck a nerve or it inspired something, because that play to Evans was fantastic. So now serving is number 11, Christian Schaefer. Rising up and throwing it down is Aiden O'Brien, taking back the lead 25-24. Again, O'Brien has come alive in this third set, now leads the team in kills with 7. And he's back to serve. What an effort there from Schaefer. But somehow the Mustangs not giving up the point. The block by Jeremy Brown ties it back up at 25.
I almost can't talk right now. It's just too exciting.
My goodness. Again, I was shocked that hit from Bianchi didn't go down initially.
I mean, usually you don't have to see the Knights run and be as scrappy as like that. You don't usually see them have to be that scrappy, but when they need to be, they are, and I love to see that. I know I've said that before, but that's part of volleyball that I love, that really going after those outlier balls.
Another kill goes down for Flanagan and gives the Mustangs back the lead. 26-25 is the score right now. Again, got to win by 2. Walker gets that to fall, ties it back up at 26. I'll be the first to admit it, folks. After the first 2 sets, I did not expect the third to be like this in any way, shape, or form. I expected to see a response from Stevenson. I expected to see an energy change, but I didn't expect to go into extra points. Here's Jayden Hall back to serve. Service ace for Hall. And the Knights take back the lead.
It would be interesting to look at the statistics for Drayton Hall. I mean, his serves, they use him back there as a server a lot. And I'm just not going to talk. I don't want commentators curse at the moment. I'll hold on.
As all fans rising up, one more point needed. That one sails out on Drayton Hall. But you mentioned his serves today. He has 2 service aces. He is tied with Christian Schaefer leading in that category.
Because Drayton Hall is a very strong server. They do use him back there in service a lot, but he isn't, sometimes he can be a little inconsistent.
That sails out. That was very close to the line. De La Torre for Stevenson can't believe it. Gives the Knights back the lead, 28-27. Another service error for Southern Virginia.
I feel like his toss there was a little too forward than he normally does. It led him to lean forward a little bit more and caused the ball to go out.
That's 21 service errors for Southern Virginia, and a service error right back at him from De La Torre. Gives the Knights back the lead, 29-28.
I almost can't watch, but I also have to watch.
With senior McKay Walker back to serve. That sails out on Walker, 22 service errors. Serving has just been a frustrating affair for the Knights. Tied once again at 29. And now back to serve number 5, Ryan Fennell. Make sure we get Christian Schaefer taped up here. I think the frustration for Southern Virginia is very visible right now. Again, the way they played the first 2 sets compared to this third one, you can tell there is a glimpse of a little disappointment in themselves, also some frustration, but also determination as well to not give up this set.
But I think it speaks to how every play really does add up in volleyball with this rally scoring that it is.
And that goes down for Stevenson as they retake the lead, 30-29.
I love this rule that you have to win by 2. It really does add a whole dynamic to this game like we're seeing right now.
And it ties it back up at 30 apiece. O'Brien and Novoa were right there. And Christian Schaefer watches it float out of bounds. Now tied at 30 with Tyler Schaefer back to serve. Off the hands of Bianchine, and Hall gives the Mustangs back the lead, 31-30. With number 12, Jack Braverman back to serve. That'll be a double hit for number 7, Justin Novoa. Brings it back to 31-31.
The ball just wouldn't leave Novoa alone on that last play.
It's almost like Novoa was a magnet. The ball was magnetized, kept coming back to him. Here's Christian Schaefer. That goes down. I believe it's a block for Bianchine. Gives the Knights back the lead. This has been one of the more chaotic sets that I think I've ever commentated in 5 years of doing this job.
I mean, rarely does a set ever go to even 32, and we still have to go over that, so.
Exactly. And though service was an issue for Southern Virginia all game long, it's a service ace that gives them the sweep. 33-31 in this third set. My goodness. Again, for those who just recently tuned in, that's not how the first two sets went at all. Southern Virginia was playing on a high level. Won the first set 25-13, then the second one 25-10, and then really had to dig deep and find a way to pull out the win despite the phenomenal third set effort from the Mustangs of Stevenson. But again, with the expectation that this program has for themselves, you imagine that, yes, they'll be happy they got the win. They'll be happy to add another win to their win streak. This is now 9 games in a row. But at the same time, they're going to be thinking to themselves, okay, what happened in that third set that we need to correct? What are some things that we need to fix? Because again, you saw the frustration build up throughout the set for both the players as well as from Coach Tom Peterson.
Yeah, I was going to say a very similar thing. I mean, I think they can take both really positive lessons from this game and some things that, yeah, they need to correct for next time and not let themselves get into this type of situation again. I mean, yes, they were able to mentally pull together as a team and finish the game in 3, but the fact that they were in that situation also calls for some talking to and figuring some stuff out as a team as well.
And I bet there's going to be a lot of different service drills happening in the next couple of weeks for Southern Virginia. Again, they finished the game with 22 service errors, and I believe 7 of Stevenson's last points were because of Southern Virginia's service errors. And I know that's very much on the top of Coach Tom Peterson's mind, and he's going to be really looking into that. So again, like you said, fantastic effort for Southern Virginia to pull out the win in spite of the opposition they faced in that third set. And the Knights on the year improved to 15-2 and continue again, this being the 9th game in a row that they have won. They haven't lost a single game in the month of March. So things are trending your way, but I'm sure in Coach Peterson's mind he's thinking more room to improve. And so with that, I want to thank you once again for tuning in tonight's broadcasting for this exciting edition of Southern Virginia Men's Volleyball. I'm Dawson Wiedrich alongside Marion Gowdy. We say good night, so long, and go Knights.